Mary Marola, founder of Function Junction, and today we're going to talk about knives. Most important thing is to make sure that you have a knife that you're comfortable with in the kitchen. I consider this the best 4 knives to start with. This is our 8-inch chef knife, or often called a cook's knife, boning knife, and this is a rather flexible boning knife, utility, and paring knife. With these 4 knives, you can do about 85 to 90% of your work in the kitchen. The most important thing about having a knife is having a sharp knife. More kitchen accidents occur with a dull knife than a sharp knife. So I'm going to start by showing you how to sharpen a knife. Now these are Victorinox knives made in Switzerland. They are called a high carbon stainless knife. That makes it easy for you to sharpen it at home without having to go to professional sharpening. So look at the edge of your knife as an example. And imagine that the edge of your knife looks like this when it's sharp. But when your knife becomes dull, it starts to look like this. And when we talk about sharpening a knife, we are realigning the edge of the knife. Here's our steel. Place it down and hold it firmly. Take your knife and start at the heel of the knife to the toe. Now what we normally do is about 6 times on each side of the knife, and then gradually work our way down to 5, 4, all the way to 1. And you notice I'm holding it at about a 20-degree angle, and that's the ideal angle in order to get the proper edge on your knife. Let's talk about some knife cuts as an example. I'm going to take a carrot because a carrot is pretty easy and popular. And back to our 8-inch cook's knife. The cook's knife is our workhorse. When we're cutting and chopping, we're doing a rocking motion. That's always our motion, and we're always cutting away from ourselves. And as often as possible, we're trying to keep the tip of the knife engaged with the board. Now I'm using an Epicurean board today, American made, great board, easy to clean up, and doesn't dull your knife. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this carrot, and I'm going to square off this carrot. And by squaring it off, it's going to be a lot easier for us to work with. We don't want a round carrot when we're trying to make a cut. And you don't really have to worry that much about peeling the carrot. And then we're going to curl the fingers of this hand, and we're going to make a bâtonnet cut. And while that's a fancy word, the purpose of this cut really is to have a 2-inch by 1/2 inch cut. And this is a perfect cut if you're going to be doing dips, and if you're going to be doing different kinds of cooking where you would want a larger, more flavorful piece of carrot or perhaps a potato. And then by taking that cut, we're going to move this way and make a medium dice. Now if we take our bâtonnet cut and we take it smaller, we're actually going to create a Julienne cut. We use that in salads, we use that in stir fries, and again, by taking that Julienne cut and making this kind of motion, we're going to have a small dice. I can do the same thing in slicing. If I take a zucchini, and all I want to do, and you notice the tip of the knife is remaining engaged with the board. I'm just doing a simple slice. Again, perfect for salads, perfect for sauteing, and that is just a basic slice. Let's talk a little bit about the Chiffonade cut. Now, people love that word, and it's a perfect cut for basil, particularly when we make our caprese salad. This is a beautiful big leaf Italian basil. So take about 4 or 5, 6 leaves off the stem, and I always say roll them like a cigar. Curl your fingers and look at those beautiful ribbons. That is your chiffonade cut. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is kind of a fine mince. And we're typically going to use that with herbs. I'm going to take the Italian parsley here. And all we're going to do is mince it this way, and then holding down, mince again. And that's our mince. Lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about big leafy greens. But you could have a Swiss chard, you could have, for example, beet greens, you could have collards. I typically take the spine out, and then I do the same thing with a nice big chiffonade cut. And that allows me to get a great saute, especially when I'm cooking this with an onion or a shallot or garlic, and not such big pieces when you're eating. The difference between a ceramic knife and a steel knife is that when we're doing certain greens, and particularly lettuces, a ceramic knife doesn't allow those to brown as easily. One other thing, here's a nice cabbage. And this is where the strength of your cook's knife, your chef knife, really comes into play. And remember, you're not ever putting your hand down. But take this cabbage, and if you're making a coleslaw, look at how easy that is. You don't have to buy that bag coleslaw. That's going to have all kinds of chemicals on it to keep it from turning brown. You're going to be able to do it that way and make your own slaw at home. I hope I've given you some tips to improve your kitchen confidence. I'm Mary Marola. Shop with us at Function Junction at Crown Center, or visit us online at functionjunction.com. We sell cool cooking stuff to make you cool cooking stuff. Thanks.